Hello, and welcome to Talking Legal episodes, proudly present by Becker Watt Family Lawyers, your trusted law full-service legal firm for your family and business. Now, I'm Praveen Gautam, your trusted marketing advisor. I help entrepreneurs and enterprises to build their digital brand and monetize it. Today's episodes, I have got a Len Watt, who is a building and constructions law solicitor and principal lawyer. Welcome to the show, Len. Great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Praveen. Thank you very much.
Beauty. Now let's get straight onto the point, and I can see the viewers are watching this from a number of social medias and both on Matthew on Becker Watt pages. Just curious, obviously, as soon as when people talk about legal, they talk about the cost, and that's where we want to talk about cost of the disputes today, if that's okay. A little bit deeper here and some practical ideas or some strategies. So would you mind give a little bit insight what forms can a dispute take?
So I suppose a dispute can take a number of different forms. A dispute can simply be a disagreement between two people in relation to, in a legal sense, in relation to something as simple as the sale of a private sale of a car, where one party thinks that they're getting something that they're not. So, a dispute at that level, which is generally quite a low level, can be resolved hopefully by, negotiation and people talking. And then you can go through a whole range of different disputes in relation to businesses and contracts, in relation to families and divorces and child custody arrangements, etc. So a dispute can take on many different forms, and it can involve sometimes being settled at an interpersonal level, so people can actually talk and settle their disputes, hopefully between themselves, or maybe they might engage a third party to help them, or it can be that you require a mediation of some description to help sort out a dispute. Or other types of alternate dispute resolution, such as arbitration and expert determination, etc., depending on what you're doing. And then finally, there's the cost of being in court. So that can take the QCAT or the district court or the magistrates court or the Supreme Court, depending on the value of the dispute. And the nature of the dispute. So a dispute can take many different forms.
Cool. That's great insight, Len. Thank you so much. So here we're talking about business dispute, but obviously personal dispute as well, in personal matters as well, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess when people come into contact with each other and they're looking to I suppose, enter into a bargain or end a relationship. There can be dispute, and those disputes need to be solved. And there are a number of different ways of resolving those disputes.
You bet. Now, you just touched on a number of ways, but primarily when we think about dispute, straight it comes to mind, we got to take to court. Is that right?
People think that, but no, not necessarily. As I say, there's a variety of different ways to resolve disputes without necessarily having to go to the courts. They're simply sitting down and calmly and rationally talking through the problem can sometimes solve it, sometimes not. Engaging in a mediation or in the case of a family law type dispute, a family relationship centre to see if there's a third party that can help you. There are occasions when it's appropriate to go to the courts, and there are particular disputes that can only really be resolved with the intervention of the courts. But you'd like to think that you don't have to rush off the court in the first instance.
You bet. Not totally. I get that clear point. Now, also the viewers are watching this right now. They must be some curious to know what would be the cost of disputes? Because again, it depends upon the dispute, but in general, as a legal, putting the
Yeah.
legal hats on, what's your tip or what's your thoughts on that, Len?
The cost of a dispute is mind blowing, really. It can a normal matter to go through a court process will cost in excess of $100,000. There's no doubt about that. By the time that you go through and you actually put together and pull together the actual content of the dispute, and then you engage the appropriate people that you need to help, expert witnesses, etc. By the time that people sit down with other witnesses and take statements and exchange documents and prepare for a court hearing, not to mention what we call interlocutories, which are little points along the way that sometimes you need to go to the court to have settled before you can move forward. It's amazing just how much it really costs and how quickly those costs mount. It's a very, very expensive exercise.
Ooh. Anything to do with the legal, anything to do with the court. So what you're saying is there will be a cost on disputes, yeah?
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, if you need to go to the court, which is why I think it's important to remember that there are other ways to solve a dispute. From our point of view, when I become involved in a dispute, one of my first things that I think about is, okay, how can we resolve this without having to go to court? The idea in a lot of cases is to try and get that settlement before you have to go to court, if it's at all possible. I think a lot of legal practitioners think that way. That there's a general perception that we're all rushing off to court, but that's not really the case. There's probably a feeling within the profession that it's more appropriate to in a lot of cases settle a dispute without going to court. It doesn't mean that your legal representative is going to hold back if you need to push a dispute into the court arena. But
right.
A lot of people, and myself amongst them, will first consider if there's another way that we can solve it.
Then the question is, then obviously some of the viewers, they might be thinking, okay, what are the other options do they have, and if it, why does it cost so much, Len?
Well, I mean, I suppose we've sort of touched on that already. The first point that I'll pick up is the options, and those options are interpersonal relationships, solving it, sitting down with the people yourself, alternate dispute resolutions, and the use of things like family relationship centres. There are plenty of mediators and arbitrators these days. A lot of contracts, and particularly in my specialty, building and construction, will contain a alternate dispute resolution clause where the parties are almost obliged to seek a alternate method of solving the dispute without going to court. But yeah, I suppose the next point that we get to is, why does it cost so much? It costs so much because firstly, there are normally a number of professionals involved. It's not just one person. You may have, for example, within the legal practice, 2 people working on it, 3 people working on it. Then you have the engagement of counsel, barristers, etc., and not to mention expert witnesses. All those things quickly add up. There's a lot of expertise that goes into presenting a matter before the court, and obviously the higher the court, as in Supreme, District Court, Supreme Court, obviously not that you ever approach things any differently, but it's appropriate if you're going before the Supreme Court that you are briefing adequate and appropriate counsel, barristers who can present the matter and put it forward in its best light. So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's great. I can see a number of the viewers are watching this right now. Again, just tuning in. By the way, guys, if you've just been tuning in, I'm with our principal lawyer, Len Watt, from Becker Watt Lawyers, and we're talking about cost of disputes, especially focusing on building and construction industry. Thank you, Len. That has really a very clear. So what you're saying just before is, before try to resolve before you go to court. So you give some ideas to our viewers, especially solving interpersonal skills, sitting down and going through it. Families relationship center. That's a great point. And arbitrations, getting arbitrations before even you go to the court. And also you mentioned a couple of alternative process in building and construction industry. Now, besides that, is there anything you would like to add in terms of the options? Have we covered everything yet?
Well, I mean, yeah, we have, but I think that it's important from a fundamental perspective to not approach that. If you are in some form of dispute, it needs to be taken seriously. It's not something that you can approach in an ad hoc fashion. You
Right.
need to sit down, engage with a lawyer, have a strategy. Work out what you're trying to achieve and how you're trying to achieve it. Certainly, occasionally you need more than one strategy. There's a strategy to see if you can't reach a resolution, and then failing that, there's a strategy that sees you heading into the courts. All those things need to be planned, and it's appropriate, I think, that people engage with their lawyers, their legal representatives, and sit down and work out just how they're going to get themselves through these minefields. I mean, quite often, even though there's a cost involved, you're in a dispute, you can't get out of it. You only have one way to get out of it, and that is to, in some way or form, resolve it. And unfortunately, there's a cost associated with that, be it that you pay the other party a sum of money, or you defend yourself and you pay your lawyers. Alternatively, if you've been wronged, or you are owed money, then obviously you're trying to recover that. There's that again appropriate that you engage and look for that solution.
Totally, Len. I get that, and especially when I like the point what you just said. There is a strategy. So whether that may be a win, lose, win, whatever it might be, there might be some strategies, and that's where I think trusted legal advisor, someone like you, and within the team, can help. So what you're saying is obviously based on the case by case, they may need to seek out to the lawyer. Is that what I'm hearing, Len?
Oh, absolutely. I think sit down with a lawyer and with your legal advisor and work out what you're doing. Don't wait till you're walking up the courthouse steps before you engage with a lawyer. Engage early, because it could be that the dispute is resolved early. Sometimes the longer it's left, the more problematic it becomes.
You bet, and it's not within the particular unit or department. It might damage the brand. So, depending upon how big your organization is or how big your enterprises is. So now that's a great insight. Thank you so much, Len. And those viewers who are watching this right now, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you, Len?
Okay, so a number of different ways. First off, we have our telephone number, which is 1300-LEGAL. Alternatively, the email is info@beckerwatt.com.au. And then finally, by the website, www.beckerwatt.com.au. We have a facility on the website that allows you to book an appointment.
That's great. So people can literally jump on the website if they have any issues right now, and they can book the initial consultation, whether 20 minutes or that might be initial consultation up to 60 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely they can. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you once again, Len. Any final anything you want to add on this topic before we close for tonight?
Look, I mean, I suppose it's a topic that is often looked at by people, and I suppose defending my own profession sometimes unfairly we are sort of cast as with the amount that it costs, but as I say, it revolves around expertise and complexity and requirements as to how much a dispute will cost. But in the vast majority of cases, the lawyers or your legal representatives, people you're working with, are trying to find their way through it and do it in the most effective and efficient and cost-effective manner possible.
The key here, what I'm hearing, is a cost-effective way. Obviously, whether you involve, you don't involve, but the time, and there's a lot of resource and a lot of energy involved. So finding out a trusted resource or trusted lawyer who can be on your side will matters a lot.
I think that anybody who is in business or runs their own business needs to have that person, needs to have that legal advisor, needs to have that person who's part of their business team, like their accountant. I think there's a lot that can be added to any business by that business's lawyer. The relationship needs to develop. And once it does, and once, from my point of view, once I get to know, my client's business, I find it far easier to assist them, because it's a matter of just being able to step into the flow and just, pick up what's happening and hopefully get to a result quite quickly.
I get that, Len. As a trusted legal advisor, so your focus is not solutions to a particular problem, not necessarily a legal solution. That's a long-term solutions for your client, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah. Look, I sort of believe in looking at how we can resolve things in a commercial manner as much as possible. I mean, sometimes there are legal solutions, sometimes there are commercial solutions. Sometimes the two intersect, and that's normally what you're looking for, the legal solution that's most commercially viable.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Len. Great insight as always. So I hope the viewers has really enjoyed today's topic, cost of disputes. If you like it, feel free to give us a thumbs up, comments, or share this post to your wider community. And if you have any specific questions, reach out. Feel free to reach out to Len and his team. All the details are just below here as well on the screen. You can just call them in 1-300-LEGAL, or you can just send an email to info@BeckerWatt to Len and Len's team. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, Len.
Thank you very much, brother. It's great to speak. Thank you.